Hello friends, neighbors, John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the Nook. Welcome to Sunday, which means we're going to look at a few samples together. And there's still snow on the ground here in bottom of March in Edmonton, and so I'm still thinking of Pete. I've got a couple of samples, one from Andy, one from Sean. You guys are the best. Andy gave me a sample of Compass Box, no name, but number 3. I haven't had that yet, and I know it features a fair amount of Lafroig, Bowmore, Clynelish, and then their Highland Malt Pack. So, you know, this no name is, like Compass Box just warms my heart. And then this one I've got from Sean. You know, this is a Kalila 10, but it's been in Entre deux Murs Barrique single cask. I think that's a Bordeaux wine. I'm not a big wine guy, but this one's a beautiful cask strength, 52.6. So we'll see what the Kalila's like and the Compass Box no name. If you got something peated, stronger, why don't you pour it around with that? We'll sip a little bit together. 3, 4. Well, awesome for coming back. Thank you. As I said in the opener, I want to shoot a little more peat because I'm cold and I should be warm. It's spring break, and peat helps me feel like I'm by a campfire, warming up. It's a good idea. So this is Compass Box no name number 3. What is 48.9%? That's on the bottle. And you know what's beautiful about Compass Box? Maybe I'll throw a link here. You can go right there, got the full fact sheet, and see all of what's going on in here. Just kind of highlights of the no name number 3. It's got a fair amount of Lafroig. Then the next kind of third quarter is Bowmore, Clynelish, and then their Highland Malt blend or pack. So, you know, we'll see. It's obviously light. Another example of why we like natural color. These are both natural color, and you should, even on this terrible camera, be able to see just a dramatic difference. And that already is part of the story. And that's why I don't want the story to be coloring. I just want it to be whatever comes out of the cask. I love light, beautiful straw, and I like dark, deep mahogany. Whatever you go for, keep it natural. This is Compass Box number 3. Interesting. It's got smoke. It's got Lafroig. By that, I mean, it does have a little bit of medicinal, a little bit of seaweed, a little bit of brine. I'm trying to chase anything else. It's got a slight, like sometimes, I'll just say it. It's got a slight black olive note, which I love black olives, I actually really do. But I struggle with them in whiskey, so I hope it doesn't come out too much on the palate. But it is briny, it is smoky, it's sweet. At this point, I'm not picking out distinct fruits, just a little bit light fruit sweetness, lots of smoke, bit of seaweed brine. Yeah, that's the nose. Let's go in. Hope you got something good in your glass. It's not yet. I'm gonna say this is funky. This is definitely brine, seaweed, but it's got ginger, anise. It's got, it's coating. It's really nice and coating, actually. And then it's drying. Boy, it stays in peat, smoke territory. I'm going to try another little sip. Sancha? You know, now I'm going to say crushed almonds, a little sweeter, so maybe some marzipan. Mixed in with drying oak, lots of peat, heavy peat, briny peat, salty peat. Nice. Very different than the peat I had yesterday, even though I had the quarter cask. I have to say this has taken it into a different direction, and it's tasty. This is a bruiser though. It doesn't have a lot of luscious fruit for me. It doesn't have a lot of other things that I think people can gain entrance to more quickly. Tasty though. My second release up here is a sample from Dark Cloud. You're the best, Sean. And it's a Kalila 10, but it's matured in Entre de Mur. Now it says Barrique single cask, but I'm pretty sure that's a wine cask, like a Bordeaux wine. And it's cask strength 52.6. It's clearly wine influence. I mean, the color on there is dark red. It's not dark like sooty black cola kind of thing. No, don't get me wrong that way. But just certainly, well, I've almost finished this little bit of a sample, but certainly when you compare it to a lighter straw, most ex-bourbon, there might be a bit of sherry in there, but it's got influence from that wine cask for sure. A challenge going head to head with smoky or peaty drams is that I've rinsed, I've chewed some crackers, I've done what I can, and yet, like, this kind of finish will last for hours. It's the kind of thing you wake up and go, I'm still smoking that cigar. It's long, and so a little bit of impact here, but I know it should also be peated, so hopefully I won't bleed over my thoughts. Getting back in, this is Kalila 10 in Bordeaux wine. And the nose, far less ash, brine, a little bit of smoke, and lots of dark fruit, lots of cooked down, you know, that dried plums of prune, rich sultana raisin. And sweet candied nuts. I don't know where that came from. That could be a leftover. This was fairly nutty, but this isn't really. But right now, so much sweeter red wine, red fruit, a little bit of berry. But let's go into the palate and see if I can't clear it out with a bit of this. Sláinte. Well, that's well done. I just knowing these two, I think this is going to satisfy a broader Scotch drinkers, because it's got some of that smokiness. It's got a little bit of light peat, but it's got a ton of well-balanced dark wine. It's sweet, but drying, dark fruit. It's a little, I'm going to back it off from that bright red. It's not berry for me, but it's a cooked fruit, stewed fruit, little bit of leather, little bit of pecan richness. Like, so it's a nut, but it's really rich. Dark. Like, dark is, what is dark? Slight brown sugar almost. You know, cooked, baked, burnt. This is so coating and rich, and coming off of this, it actually drinks smoother than, even though it's 52 something and this was 48 something. This is really nice, and I have to say, Kalila can be hit and miss. I've had some really good Kalilas, and this is in that camp. This is an excellent release, very rich. The Kalila adds a bit of that smoky character, but doesn't overwhelm it. Now, I'm coming off what feels like a very strong, briny, medicinal peat. And so I'm not getting that in here. It might be here if I was coming off nothing, if I was doing this on its own, which is why these samples are not a review. There is far too much carryover from this in my thoughts. So in this moment, and all with a grain of salt, briny salt, my thoughts are this is dark, rich, I think would appeal to more people. If you want to get kind of slapped around with some kelp, and in a good way though, I would say, you know, this No Name 3 is good. I can like it too. Thanks again, Andy and Sean. Thank you guys for joining me here. Have you had either of these? Do my thoughts resonate, or have I blown out my palate? Thank you for joining me here this Sunday, and I hope you guys have a great week ahead.